Okay, so what we're going to do now is demonstrate how to use the MapWindow 6.0 project components in order to create a new spatial application. The first thing you do is go in and create a new project, and this project is going to start as named, we're going to call this C# test, and essentially it opens up with a blank form that we're going to populate with controls. Now, already loaded are the MapWindow controls. If you did not have these controls loaded, you would use a right click on the toolbox to do choose items, and at that point the dialog is loading with COM controls and .NET controls, but you don't need either one of those. What we're going to use is a DLL that is specific to this project. So you use the browse option, and under the development directory I have downloaded the MapWindow 6 project. I have all of the DLL libraries and executables being built to the bin directory under the MapWindow 6 dev project, and we're going to specifically select MapWindow DLL, and that's going to add several controls to the toolbox. And as it happens, they've already been loaded into the toolbox, but if they weren't, they would now be there. The principal control that's important for 2D applications that are compatible with Mono is the GeoMap project control. So then what we're going to do to create a little bit more fleshed out application is add some other .NET controls first. To begin with, I'd like to add a menu strip, and this is just a regular .NET menu strip, the kind of thing that shows file, edit, and other options at the top. The next idea is that there's a status bar at the bottom. Windows has a status bar as well, essentially a status strip, but we're not going to use that one. We're going to use a special MapWindow one called an MW status strip, and this works and behaves exactly like a regular status strip, except that it can receive MapWindow progress messages. So I'm going to set the labeled status message to be spring so that it shows up in the middle, and put a simple message as a default reading. Then we're ready to add a tool strip. So I'm going to come down here and add a container for the tool strip to appear in, which is a standard .NET tool strip container. Docking it to fill allows the tool strip container to occupy the remaining area of the project. And then I'm going to add our special MapWindow tool strip. Now this inherits from the basic tool strip, so it can be dropped into a tool strip container just as easily. But it comes preloaded with several buttons that can be useful for a project, and they're ready to go. Now they have nothing to interact with yet, so that's the next stage. I know that I want my map and my legend to share space in the center of the form, so I'm going to use a split container, and it has two panels on it. And that's going to subdivide that space. What I'll do is I'll add the GeoMap to panel 2, and you don't need to worry about the size of GeoMap, because what I'm going to do is set the dock to fill, and that's going to make it automatically occupy this entire panel. And then what we're going to do is do the same thing with the legend control in panel 1. And so we're going to also set its dock properties to fill. And we seem to be ready to go, but it's not quite linked together. In order to link the parts together, we'll start with selecting the properties of the MapWindow tool strip, and the map property can be changed to GeoMap 1, and that tells the tool strip what map to use. The next is to control the properties on the map itself. We need to inform it that there is a legend that it should store its information to, and that there's a progress handler, basically the status strip. And so now the legend is showing evidence that there's a map frame here, and the project has a status strip that will respond to progress messages from the map. And at that point, you're ready to start your project. You can run it by pressing the play button. And this is our running application, and it's fully ready to load data and work with stuff. And so that ends the first tutorial of this stage.